Okay. No, you're fine. You're totally fine. So, thank you for joining me today. So, first of all, congratulations on making it as far as you guys did. Making it to the state championship is certainly big, especially doing it for the first time in the school's history. How does it feel to bring this team to a state championship?
Huh. Um, it's almost indescribable. Feeling, you set out at the beginning of every year to, win a state championship, and to actually see it come to fruition it's really a big feat, and it's just almost indescribable. It's just a good feeling.
Tell me a little bit about the players. What was it like working with? There was a lot of seniors. You did have an underclassman in the starting lineup. So what was it like working with the players day in and day out?
These guys I've been working with since they were in the third, fourth grade, and so, just to watch them grow over the years, and then watch them go from last year first round knockout to making it to a state championship. I mean, it was really special. We had some seniors this year, 3 seniors that started, and then we had 2 sophomores that started. But the tradition is rich here at Santa Fe High School. You know, even though this is the first state championship team, it's not the first, team with a lot of talent on it. And these guys were very special this year.
Yeah, so speaking of talent, you do have one player that's going to NC State, in Ernest Ross. What was it like working with him throughout his time here and then getting him to the next level?
Well, I tell people all the time, the only people that can get them there is themselves. But it was a pleasure to work with Ernest for 4 years, to watch him come in. I tell people all the time, he reminded me of a baby giraffe. He couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time when he first got here. And he was real thin. He's still kind of, skinny now, but, he grew so much in 4 years. And not just on the court, but off the court as well. He's matured pretty well, with his time here. And it was just a pleasure to watch him grow.
So what was your involvement in his recruitment process? Did coaches reach out to you? Did he talk to you about his choices? What was that like?
So we were really involved in his recruitment process. He lives with his grandmother, but he also has an adopted family that has stepped in to help him, his day in and day out things as far as school and things like that. And so, we got a village around here, and we really mean that when we say family, we're family. And we were very involved in his recruiting process. Coaches would call me, and I would kind of do a fill out and see, what I thought about him. And when he made his decision, he asked me what I thought. And I told him NC State. Now, I'm not saying I made that decision for him, but he asked me what I thought, and I thought NC State was the best fit for him.
Why did you think NC State was the best fit?
NC State, they got a staff, they're very family oriented. And they got a staff that's gonna hold his feet to the fire. And he needs somebody that's gonna just stay on top of him. He's a great kid, but he also needs some motivation, and I thought that was the best fit for him.
What characteristics of his do you think are going to translate really well to the next level?
Ernest is just, one, off the court, he's easy to get along with. You don't want a kid that's hard to coach. He's easy to coach. His basketball characteristics, he's a energy guy. He's going to run the floor. He's going to block shots. He has impeccable timing when it comes to blocking shots. And I think once he gets there, they're going to work on his shot, and that's going to be, part of his game as well. And so he's going to probably be a stretch 4, where he can step out and bring the ball down a little bit, step out, hit some shots, and they're going to need him to play some defense. And so I think that's what they look at him as.
Yeah, there were multiple times, multiple games I came to where if you guys needed some energy, he was always coming either throwing down a dunk or getting a big block. So what was it like to have him bring the energy to the court multiple times in big games?
Well, it's funny you say that. It's kind of like he doesn't play until he gets that play, until he gets that dunk or that block. Then he gets his engine going, and I know sometimes where we would intentionally call a backside lob for him just to get him going, and we knew that was infectious, and it would get the team going, and so I mean, that's what Ern is. He's energy, and so we're gonna miss that next year, but man, it was fun to coach.
So those were coach moments. There were multiple games I came in, and the first play you guys were running was a lob to him. So it was to get him going early on. That's what it was for.
Absolutely.
Seems like a smart plan to me. So obviously you are losing him, but you do have returning starters. I mean, Dontrell Jenkins went off in the state championship game. What does it mean to have him returning?
Well, Dontrell is a kid that lives, breathes, eats basketball. He just loves it. He loves basketball, and if he could have 6 periods of basketball class, he would probably be in here. Mm-hmm. And so he's a kid that's he showed everybody in the state finals, in the semifinals, he could play, and he could play at a high level. Has a high IQ, he shoots the ball well, and great ball handler, and so he's gonna continue to carry this program.
As a coach, I know players look up to other players. Do you, as a coach, look up to any other coaches at the higher level?
I don't say I look up to guys. There are some guys that I take pieces of, what they do. But more so than anything, I look to the guys that are locally around me, because I can call them and I can talk to them. And there's so many coaches that are in our area that are just legends in their own right. Coach Pop at Eastside, I can always just call him and talk to him. He's my friend, but he's my rival. B.J. Johnson at PK Young, great guy. Carlos Villalobos at Trinity Catholic, Steve Faulkner at Columbia. So it's a fraternity, and we shoot stuff off of each other all the time. We call each other all the time.
So tell me a little bit about your journey as a coach. So obviously you started here. You went to school here, right? Mm-hmm. So how did you get from being a student here, student athlete here, and coming to coaching here?
So one day I just stopped by to see my old coach, and he had asked me one day, because I'd come by and stop in and check on practice, and he was like, "Hey, you ever thought about coaching?" And I was like, "No, not really." And he was like, "Well, I need a 9th grade coach." And the following year, he gave me the 9th grade coaching job, and I coached that team. I can't remember how many games we won. I think I tried to forget how many we won for the first year. But then, the next year, he left that following year, and I became the JV coach. Actually, he was here another year, and so he promoted me to the JV coach. And the following year, he left, and I got promoted to the assistant varsity coach. And just from there, I was assistant for 6 years. And then I got an opportunity to be the girls basketball head coach. I went back to school, graduated from the University of Florida, and became the girls basketball head coach for 2 years. And then this position opened up. And I said, why not? I had been, that's what I went back to school for. I said that's what I was going to do, and I've been here for 14 years.
So how far has this program come since you first got here?
We have a rich tradition here at Santa Fe. We, when I first got on, we had just been to a Final Four right before I started coaching. Before that, I think We were 27-2 the year before that, and so I came into a program that was winning. When I became the assistant head coach, we went to the Final Four in 2001, 2002. And, from then, we've just been making the playoffs, every year. There hasn't been very many years that we haven't made the playoffs. But, a couple years ago, 2014, I think we were in the Elite Eight, ran up against Joel Berry, who went on to be a MVP in the NCAA. So that wasn't good for us. But, we've had some success. And I've always just tried to hold the line, and I think my staff and we're proud of the job that we've done. I think we've done a really good job of just making sure that we keep that tradition of competing every year.
Yeah, so it's one thing to compete year after year, but with a year like this year where things are just completely different with COVID, what has coaching this year been like? How are things different? And then how has it been playing against other teams? Tell me a little bit about what this year has been like.
Going back to the summer, every year you try to be quicker, faster, stronger. And we were unable to do that with COVID. And, the good thing is everybody else is behind as well. And so, coming out of summer, you start the season even further behind. And then we had a lot of kids that played football. And that pushed you a little bit further behind and everything. But we knew early, that this group was a little different, a little special, because they were able to pick up, plays and schemes and things like that, quicker than we've had in years past. And we were ready to play, early January. And, and then COVID hit our team. We had some positive tests, and that put us out for 2 weeks. And, and then it's hard to get your legs back, and you're trying to do that at the end of the season. And so we had to fast forward by the end of the season to try to get our legs where we needed to have them. And, luckily we hit our stride at the right time. But it is difficult, coaching with COVID. Just making sure that you do the small things, wearing masks during practices, not being in huddles, making sure we got hand sanitizer for every practice, or locker room and things like that. So it was very difficult to manage all of that, but we were able to get through that.
So additionally, I saw in a couple of reports that that your wife is battling cancer. Can you tell me, if you don't mind, can you tell me a little bit about that situation and how that played a role in your team?
Well, she's not the only person that's battling that. It does also make it difficult when you got chemo treatments, and I'm making sure that I'm there with her all the time. It makes it really difficult. But I have the best coaching staff, because they would take up the slack if I couldn't be here for practice. They can do practice plans and get the guys prepared and ready to play. And they did a tremendous job this year for us. And so my wife's we're gonna continue to fight and battle that. And so she's gonna win. I'm not sure if you know this, but I retired yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
So tell us what went into that decision.
Well, family is always first. I have a duty to my wife, to make sure that I'm there 100% for her. And so although it's been a 19-year run here at Santa Fe High School, I don't have any regrets. I am at peace with my decision. I've coached a lot of great kids. They've become great young men, and I think and I hope that I've left a legacy of excellence off the court. What we do off the court matters, but basketball is a vehicle to make sure that we can affect lives and change the surroundings around us.
Yeah, certainly a good way to go out, making it to a state championship. Do the players know?
Yes.
Okay, how was it telling them, and how did they react to it?
That was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. But I got some tremendous young men. That they understand and they're great. And you know, they although they expressed that it was going to be different. I ensured them that life is going to be, you're going to have challenges and there's going to be some changes, things that you don't know that are going to happen, but you still have to endure and go through it. And we got some resilient kids, and they 100% understand. They were completely behind me. They dedicated the season to my wife because they knew what we were going through. So, it's bittersweet, but it's time that I invest that time in my wife. I also wanted to make sure that I was being the leader that they needed. Things happen in life, and you got to continue to move forward. And just because something happens doesn't mean you quit. You got to keep fighting. And so hopefully they learned that from me this year.
Yeah, I'm sure they've gotten plenty of lessons over the years.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're very, very, very thankful for you, and I'm very thankful for you meeting with me today. Thank you so much for talking to me, and enjoy retirement.
Absolutely.
I guess.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Thank you
Chris.
so much.
Anytime.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.